Hello, and welcome back to Hakuoki.
You know how you said there was fantasy in this?
Yeah.
Other than some red-eyed men, I'm not seeing a whole lot of that.
Well, that's about it. It's just demons and shit.
You normally go for more heavy on the fantasy.
Yeah, but I guess this is more historical.
What were you playing when I met you? Something apples? Dandelion.
Dandelion.
Yeah, and there was a guy who was obsessed with apples.
He got drunk when he ate apples.
Yeah, that's right. That was much more into the fantasy realm.
Yeah.
I guess.
In that it's a normal world where there's a sudden injection of fantasy into one person's life type of situation.
Then there was that fucking thing we played where it was all the different chest levels of Catgirl or some nonsense.
Oh, right. The Nicopada.
Yeah, and the kid's sister was probably the biggest proponent of sleeping with the guy.
Yep.
Which was ridiculously creepy when you have 9 other female characters.
Who are cats and are considered pets.
Yeah.
So it's either incest or bestiality, depending on which way you went.
Well, I don't think that one was a sim, per se. It was just a novel.
No, it's just a visual novel, clicky.
The slowest man in the entire history of the world not understanding what flirting is.
Yep. But
anyways,
I was almost there when suddenly it flew open all on its own, revealing...
No!
What? Ah! I stumbled straight into Kondo.
Oh my. Well, that was rather bold. You were looking for escape, I assume. No, I needed to pee. Just, that's all you need to say. I needed to pee.
I mean, truly, they've had her all night.
Yeah.
It's like, I gotta go.
Also, really hungry? Was gonna try and find one of you. I assume you have a bathroom here. Attempting to escape was unwise. It will only make your situation more difficult.
His voice was calm and not unfriendly, but his eyes were frigid and calculating. Too late, I realized why they hadn't bothered to tie me up again. They'd been watching me.
All of them? It seems like a massive waste of time when they should be discussing what to do with you. I told you once, I won't do it again. Run and I'll gut you. Technically you said kill last time. So, actually you never told her that. Shut up. Sorry, but now we've got to kill you. Can't trust a kid who can't keep a promise. I never promised I wouldn't escape.
I haven't said shit.
Yep.
Except for things that can be even worse trouble.
Okita smiled.
He didn't look very sorry. Run!
You are not a smart cookie, are you?
I had no choice but to run. If I was going to die anyway, then I had nothing to lose by trying to escape.
Some dignity, perhaps?
Slipping around a stunned Kondo, I took off down the hallway. For about 2 seconds.
Oh, did that not work? Huh. Did you really think you could escape again?
Ah!
I really have to go.
He snatched me from the floor in one smooth motion with cat-like grace. Oh, she tripped over herself, and he's just like, seriously? Let me go.
You think I'm stupid? You'll just try to run. No.
But I don't want to die.
Well,
and
duh.
There's something I have to do.
Humph. And what's that? What compels a girl to run around Kyoto pretending she's a boy?
Huh? Did he just say, girl? When I stopped flapping my feet and arms, Hijikata put me back down on the floor. Why is he just holding her up like this?
Yeah, scruff of the neck.
She's not that short.
Tall people can do that to short people.
She's not that short.
Maybe he's that tall.
No.
You're right, it's Japan.
Sir? I looked up at Hijikata and he did not seem happy at all. Did you just say girl? I was scared, there was no denying it. Sanan looked at us and nodded.
I see. Then you really were a girl. Had you not? How come one of you figured this out? Come on, you thought putting on a pair of pants was gonna fool us? Even an idiot could tell.
Wait, so all of you knew from the start? Was my disguise that unnatural? I wasn't quite sure what to think. Oh, Asami Kondo, you fool! This is the shame of a lifetime! How could I have not realized? I like him. He's dumb.
He's color coordinated as well.
Yes. Well, perhaps they had all known. I confess his reaction put me more at ease.
Wait, you like dumb guys? Gears turning in head. To be fair, I'm intentionally stupid. I think. Hard to keep track at this point. You almost got killed for it, whatever it is. Maybe it's time you spilled your guts, kid. Before I do! Ha 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 ha! See what I did there? You want to explain what that butterfly moon thing was there, buddy? Also, while I'm at it, Sam, what was that butterfly moon thing I just saw?
That's basically an affection point up. Affection up. So he likes me a little more for attempting to escape. He's like, well, at least she's gutsy enough.
She's got moxie.
I looked back at him and nodded. There I was, surrounded once again by the leaders of the Shinsengumi.
And Kondo. He was there for some reason as well.
He's officially the head. Well, the thing is, he's dumb, but he's so friendly, everyone likes him, so that's why he's the chief, because they throw him at people.
Fair enough. It's important to have a friendly guy to diffuse situations.
I noticed you were rather slim, and your features were far too soft to be a man's, but to think you were a lady this whole time...
You know, if you noticed it was too soft to be a man, then you've sort of eliminated most of the options other than lady.
Kondo was nodding his head repeatedly as if he were agreeing with a very intelligent suggestion. For him to notice the softness of my features, it flattered me a bit.
Okay. Once you knew she's a girl, she doesn't really look like a boy at all, does she? Yes, I am aware of my situation in this glass house while I polish my stone collection.
So we bound her and left her for the whole night? Oh dear.
Hopefully she's into that. Always a chance. Well, she claims to be a girl, but it's not like we have actual proof, right? Really?
Proof?
Proof, really? Not obvious enough for you? Alright, will he feel better if I strip her down?
No, you absolutely won't not. You suggested thing is preposterous.
I just figured it was the quickest way to settle the question, but I won't force it. Well, if you really are a girl, then killing you would just feel kind of wrong. Why are you so naive? It doesn't matter. If we have to kill her, she dies. Exactly. However, her gender is irrelevant. Killing her in general is wrong. Oh, well, that too. We were an organization that to protect civilians and jams of Kyoto. It would serve ill for public good by murdering civilians in cold jam. By the way, those members that betrayed them, they used I can't believe it's not butter, which is the ultimate crime. Using butter just gets you kicked out. I can't believe it's not butter is a killable offense. Yeah, but if the girl or boy is a threat at peace, that's a horse of a different color. God, you are a little too eager to kill somebody.
Yep, the Shinsengumi had already suffered a very gruesome reputation in Kyoto. If rumors spread that their men were thirsty for blood, things weren't likely to go well for them. You really need to stop letting Soji out of the house then.
No, bad Soji.
Kyoto would banish them, and with no one to protect the people, the city would erupt into chaos. Each of their members deeply understood the consequences of behaving rashly in these times, except Soji, who's an idiot.
Yahtzee named Persona his 5th favorite game of the year, by the way.
Yay!
So he clearly liked it.
Yes.
Breath of the Wild was 4, I can't remember what 3 was, Hat in Time was 2, and 1 was Resident Evil 7.
Cool. Considering he had previously stated that he hates JRPGs.
He said the world's apparently gone upside down because I never thought a JRPG would make it onto this list.
Yay!
He really there was something, he said it was something about the teenage drama and day-to-day activities that got to him. And it was a simple and easy enough plot to understand without having to play previous games. Which is always good. You get references if you played previous games, but you don't.
It's not necessary to enjoy the game.
I thought he was going to say Final Fantasy 15 because of the whole previous games thing, but no, he went with Persona.
Yay!
My apologies, but I took the liberty of checking through your belongings. It would appear you came all the way from Edo, by yourself, without jam. How do you go that long without jam? You didn't seem to have much. Some clothing, some pocket change, a few letters, and this sword. One of the letters was from Ryojin Matsumoto, a shogunate-approved doctor. I assume you saw him. What is your purpose, Kaida Yukimura?
The minute my name was spoken, the vibe in the room shifted immensely. Everyone wore a stunned expression, eyes
What the
wide.
hell's a Kaida? I don't know, but she looks like she'd kill them.
And no words were uttered in response until...
Wait. Kaida. That name. Hey now, this can't be a coincidence.
Now, wait a moment. We only need to determine if you're a threat. Will you tell us your side of the story? At Kondo's behest, I stood up to speak.
On a very obviously sidetracking note, I know you've expressed you don't know why you don't know what a Kaida is or why you're killing them. Why did you pick that name then?
It was I was in my weeb phase, so I wanted a Japanese name that sounded cool.
And Kaida is a Japanese name.
Maybe.
So you created a word that sounded
well, I found
Japanese.
I found it on a baby's name that said it was Japanese, but then as I've done looked it up, I haven't encountered anything in actual Japanese media that uses that name.
Maybe it's kind of a older name that people don't use, like Ethel.
And given that it means little dragon, I'm wondering if another weeb made it up and then just put it on a baby's name list.
Internet myth. Kaida is a Japanese name that means little dragon. It does not mean little dragon and has no connection to dragon. In Japan, it is a last name. PLS, please ask a Japanese person before you go and use a name that is so-called Japanese origins. Apparently it's a last name. It does not mean little dragon.
Yeah, so a weeb put it up. But whatever, I've been using it, I'm not changing it.
Well, yeah, Little Dragon Killer, alright, fine. But now you're specifically targeting people with that as a last name. That's a bit mean.
My name is Kaida Yukimura. Under the watchful eyes...
Why do you have two last names?
Shish. Under the watchful eyes of the leaders, I sharply described how I came to face them, how I lived in Edo, how I'd come to Kyoto to find my father, how lonely the city felt before I arrived. Because they totally care about that. Oh, and you're from Edo as well, and you came all the way to Kyoto to find your father?
He's really excited about this.
Said. So, who's your father?
Tell me, is it me? I hope it's me. I've always wanted a daughter.
My father...
What sex?
My father is Kodo Yukimura.
Sorry, I was just reflecting on Kodo and Kaida. It actually sounds like it could be.
Not why I picked it, but yeah.
So, wait, which one is this? Left or right?
Left.
So, the dots are connected.
What are you talking about?
What you talking about? The handwriting within the letter does indeed match Kodo's, but to think you were Dr. Kodo's daughter.
You knew my father?
No, you know my father.
You know my father? The silence was enough to tell me that the revelation of my parentage caused a pronounced change in their behavior.
So, you've been withholding information from us.
Huh? What information are you talking about?
There's no point in lying to us now. Out with it. What the hell are you doing in Kyoto?
I just came to look for my father. I swear I don't know anything else.
You know he runs a rival jam business. Don't lie to me. That's me slapping my knee. And really hurting myself, by the way. I'm doing it mostly to get the sound effect. You came to this city fully aware of what your father, Kodo, is doing?
I was only aware of my father being in Kyoto for his medical work, but I haven't seen him since last summer. That's all I know.
Your father's finding a way to surgically inject jam into our veins. It's madness, I tell you. It should be enjoyed like a traditional jam would. Hijikata. Wait.
Right.
Hijikata, it may be better for us not to press on this because she may not know anything after all.
So what do you know about my father? Where is he right now? Please tell me.
The Shinsengumi is currently attempting to determine the whereabouts of Dr. Kodo Yukimura.
You're after my father? So this means...
Oh, no. You got it all wrong. We're not after him.
I see. A huge wave of relief came over me.
He's a fellow supporter of the Shogun, but he disappeared a while ago. There's a reasonable chance that the enemies of the Shogun have identified him as a threat.
I let out an audible gasp as Saito continued without paying me any mind.
Yep, could be being tortured and flayed alive right now. Body in pieces, jam all over the place. Real mess, if you know what I mean. Giblets gone, never to create another sister for you. Oh, I'm sorry, am I getting a little too morbid? There's a chance he's still alive. Doctors skilled in Western medicine are quite rare.
I wasn't sure what else to do, so I nodded. My heart pounded in my chest, threatening to burst onto the floor.
Like a jar of jam dropped from the ceiling. Kondo, what do you make of her situation? Would it be in our interest to help her, seeing as we are all looking for the same person?
What exactly do you mean, help her?
I don't really know how else I could explain it. We cooperate until we fight. What part of help her don't you get? With her assistance, I'm sure our chances of locating Kyoto will increase drastically. You know, helping us. Jesus Christ. Oh, okay, not you. Looking for him may prove fruitless, however. Fruitless! A word most foul to this organization. If he's in disguise, spotting him will be difficult. You are his daughter, however. You ought to recognize him no matter how he may have disguised himself, yes?
Yes, of course.
Meanwhile, cut to him in just terrible drag makeup.
I nodded as I spoke while giving him what I hoped seemed like a steady, reassuring smile.
Besides, having her stay with us regardless can be of use to our headquarters.
What do you say, Toshi? Sanin is making a lot of sense.
If it turns out she doesn't know anything after all, then...
It's true. All I know is that my father headed to Kyoto, but I don't know anything else. And about last night, I didn't see anything.
Certainly nothing concerning Jams. Well, if she is his daughter, we can't really kill her, can we?
His eyes narrowed as he looked down on me.
If you promise to keep last night a secret, we'll let you stay until your father is found. Fair?
I promise that the Shinsengumi will do whatever they can to help you find Dr. Kodo. Thank you so much. I never imagined something like this. I was elated to have escaped death, but not only had I survived, but I'd found my first decent lead.
Must be glad we won't be killing you then, huh? Well, we won't be killing you just yet. I really like killing. Hey, a squirrel! Hill!
Actually, this guy, historically,
This is another person who actually existed?
yeah, like all these people actually existed.
Oh, I
except
thought
for
you
her.
said. I thought you said they created some of these guys.
Some of them they did, but not these guys.
Okay.
But some of the side characters, as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
But it popped up later in the game, but he's gonna die of tuberculosis.
How charming.
And historically, it was famous. When he got really bad, he got so angry because he couldn't kill the house cat. He's like, "Damn that cat!
Hate that thing. God.
It mocks me by not letting me kill it."
Why couldn't he kill the cat?
Because he was so weak because this is when he was like on his last legs. He couldn't lift his sword anymore.
Couldn't
So
even kill a cat.
Yeah, so he was so pissed off about that. He gave me that same wolfish grin. There was no denying that my situation was still less than desirable, but it didn't matter for now. Yes, I'm very glad. Against all odds at last, I'd found help where I'd never have expected it, the Shinsengumi.
So you played through this 3 times already, and you're going to be going after a certain boy, I take it.
Yes.
Have we met the boy yet?
Yes.
Okay. You've said it's not the guy I'm doing the deep voice for.
Yes.
I'm going to bet it's not the guy you're voicing because you would have already gone after him, since you clearly like that guy.
Yeah, you can't go after him.
That's a shame.
Well, he's the chief, and also he's married.
Well, I didn't know that, did I?
Yeah, he's married. Well, they never mention it in game, but he is.
Is it the... I'm only gonna guess once, I suppose. Is it the fucking redheaded dude that keeps showing up in the trio?
No.
Nah. Kinda like that guy.
Actually,
Anyways.
fun fact, while I was working on his, I had to stop and, vacuum, and apparently the fuse box, or whatever you want to call it, it can't run the heater and the vacuum at the same time. So it tripped the switch, which turned off my computer, and of course breaker, yes. And I hadn't saved during that playthrough, so I basically well, fuck this.
On that note, perhaps you should save.
Yes. No, wrong button. Save.
Warrior record?
Yeah, that you can go and you can go in here and see. You can't really see it right now.
So it's a bit of a gallery.
it shows you how interested they are in you. Because right now it says closed because we just met these fuckers.
Ah, their personality is closed to you.
Yes.
One of those guys you haven't even met yet.
A couple of them. My first day in Kyoto was quite the adventure. In spite of everything I'd seen, my fortune was improving with every step. I still had a long way to go, but keeping positive was my only hope. Aren't you relieved, Yukimura? It's a pleasure to have you. Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure for me as well. Hey, Gin! With her being a lady after all, I'm not sure that our all-male household is equipped for her needs. You bring up a good point. What would you have me do? Kondo crossed his arms and thought deeply.
Should you require anything, you need only ask. We will do what we can to accommodate you.
Thank you.
We have a fine selection of stuffed animals. That's what girls like, right?
And no one wants to own up to who actually bought them and keeps storing them.
Oh, they're all theirs. That's the only thing they love more than jam, stuffed animals. They're like, yes. Oh, I did find the room in Gerudo Town where there's clearly a guard that makes the stuffed sand seals for her.
Really?
Yeah. And in the courtyard where she keeps her favorite sand seal, if you go into the little room that's off to the side, you can see that there's a woman who's working on another stuffed one.
Oh, that's so cute.
It is. Well, I guess we'll have to be nicer to you now that we know you're a girl. Gee, it didn't take for you long to change your tune when you saw she was a girl, eh, Shin? Ah, whatever. Having a lady at headquarters is certainly going to brighten things up, won't it?
I wasn't entirely sure I believed that sentiment.
I'm not sure if our headquarters are up to standards for a lady, however. Mostly talking about the bathhouse, which is just naked dudes all the time. We didn't bother building that partitioning wall or anything. But then again, she's not a soldier, so we can't expect to treat her as such. Then make her a page or something. What? Oh, an assistant. Want an assistant, Kondo? How about you, Susan? I've been waiting to say that. Oh, come on now, Hijikata. It's your idea, so we can't just pawn her off on someone else.
Ah, excellent. We can entrust Toshi with her.
Toshi?
Yeah, his first name is Toshizo.
Well, there you have it, Hijikata. I hope you'll take good care of her.
Toshizo, right?
You sons of bitches. You can't just decide.
As I watched their back and forth, some of my early relief began to ebb away. And this is how the Shinsengumi had come to look after me.
Chapter Dose?
No. Just a time skip.
Oh, it's February.
February 1864.
Not much of a time skip.
No.
Could have been one day. Could have been.
Mid-February.
Okay, so it can't be one day.
I slid the door open and met a breath of cool morning air. Clumps of thick clouds trundled silently over the city, an unusually strong wind driving them along.
There's a city. I assumed these guys were isolated.
It's a bit... I've always been a bit confused, because they say Kyoto, but then they refer to areas that are in the woods. So I'm like...
Maybe they're up on a mountain and you can see Kyoto from there, and that's where they go for supplies and shit.
I think Japan has typically, when they say a city Kyoto, it's actually comprised of a bunch of little villages and a main area that is the city, but it also encompasses the suburbs basically.
Yeah, subgenres, but it's all considered Kyoto.
Yes. So I'm assuming that given that they're soldiers, they're probably at a larger residence.
I was going to say, when you say city, I picture that there are shops around as well. That's really all it needs for me to be a city or a town. A shop. Otherwise it's a neighborhood. Or a compound, I guess, in this case.
Yeah, they are a larger residence, so I'm assuming they're more in the burbs type.
Yeah, once you have a shop, it's a settlement or a town.
And just remembering from what I read, they're also called the Wolves of Mibu, and I think that's kind of where they are now, is the village of Mibu. Which is a village, obviously.
Yeah.
It's cold today. I shivered
Brilliant observation.
And grabbed a jacket from near the door to wrap around myself. A week had passed since I'd begun living in the headquarters of the Shinsengumi.
Wait, mid-February and it's only been a week?
Yeah,
I don't know if I buy that.
I was given a room of my own, but they made it clear that I wasn't to roam freely. They weren't the best accommodations, but given how close I was to being murdered by them instead, I thought it best not to complain. Still, do I really need to dress like this all the time? I sighed, staring at my feet on the cold floor. They'd given me temporary accommodations, but it wasn't without its strict conditions.
We really need a flashback for this?
Yes.
This couldn't have been just tacked on. The Shinsengumi will look after you, but we don't allow women to simply wander outdoors. The Shinsengumi keeping a woman here. If such rumors were to spread, tongues would begin to wag. Even worse, it may invite guests who are also searching for Kodo?
Kodo.
Which one's Kodo?
Her dad.
Oh, right. Searching for Kodo to come here looking for you. It is still up to speculation, however, whether or not he has been taken or attacked. So many unanswered questions hovering about, all the more reason to keep recklessness at a low. In other words, you need to keep this facade as a man. Do I make myself clear?
Clear. His reasoning
You're not
was
doing
sound.
the echo of flashback talking.
Perhaps more than that, I knew he was concerned not only for the Shinsengumi, but also for the safety of my father and myself. I didn't have a choice regardless, but keeping this in mind made his orders more palatable.
I don't expect this to be an issue, but having a woman around could disrupt morale, so to speak. For that reason, only we, the Shinsengumi's leadership, will know the truth of your situation. It's imperative for us to keep this under wraps, for there will be no telling what becomes of a rumor.
I understand the situation, so what should I do while I'm here?
Nothing. You're going to get a room and you're going to stay in it. Really? I could have sworn we decided she was going to become someone's page. Soji, keep your tongue in your mouth, or I'll cut that fucking thing off. Language!
Before long, I'd been here for
I don't think I trust this game teaching you words like that.
Oh, please.
You innocent soul, you.
I guess I don't have much of a choice. No sense in dwelling on what I can't do, after all. Although it was still a new sensation, I'd grown comfortable in dressing like a boy, particularly the feeling of wearing pants.
This is going to turn to a game where she just realizes she likes cross-dressing, isn't it?
Not really.
It's going to become a fucking Rocky Horror Picture Show situation.
Nope.
Damn.
I straightened up and touched the kodachi that Hijikata had given back to me. This was a familiar friend of mine, the blade by my hip stretching back as far as I can recall.
Of course, it's only a picture of it. They wouldn't let me have the real one.
According to my father, this is an important heirloom passed down through the Yukimura clan. As such, I was forced to take lessons in swordplay, making me well aware of what the blade was capable of. I had never cared much for weapons. Weapons hurt people, which is an obvious factor, but it was more than that, at least for me. For as far back as I could remember, any wounds I suffered healed at an incredible rate.
What is the obsession with katanas? Because they kind of suck as far as swords go. They're just sort of meant for quick slashes. You know, if you want to do all the cool shit people do or want to do with katanas, you need heavier swords.
Yeah, I think it's more the symbolism. It's of the samurai and of the warrior spirit.
Yeah, I guess. But even they're just so weak as far as swords go, and people treat them like they're not. They're like these indestructible things.
Yeah, that's more of...
It's like, not really. Western swords, they don't have as much class and, style maybe,
more
but
symbolism.
they would fucking wreck a katana.
And at least in the West, there's also the exotic, katanas are from the East and they're so much cooler than we are.
And maybe a short sword, because katana has reach, but you get anything that requires two hands, and a katana is doomed. You need one hit, and that katana is shattered. There's just so much weight behind those claymores and Zweihanders.
Small cuts would disappear overnight. As a child, I thought nothing of it, but as I grew older, I began to realize that I was not quite normal. My father insisted it was a gift of the gods, but that I should tell no one of it. I didn't tell anyone, of course. I was afraid they would treat me like a monster if they knew. Ever since then, I'd done my best not to get hurt. I stayed as far away from blades as I could, and before I realized it, I developed a fear of them.
I don't get it. What happened? Why is she avoiding getting
you went
hurt?
off a tangent.
Talking about swords.
Yes.
Was at least relevant. So why does she avoid swords?
She heals at an incredibly fast rate.
Oh, so she's Wolverine.
And her dad basically said keep it a secret, so she became...
Well, yeah, you can't tell people that you're Wolverine.
So she became overly cautious of blades in general, so she doesn't
That's a shame for Wolverine.
Yes. Still, that wasn't the only thing on my mind. The rank-and-file soldiers treated me coldly. I'm not just imagining it, right? I learned from having a private room was a privilege, even for captains. For a child to arrive and receive better treatment than their own captains, no surprise really for the soldiers to hate me. True, I suppose I can't really blame them. I was enjoying the Shinsengumi's hospitality, and so I felt I should help them in some way, but I knew nothing of soldiers and their ways. I gave as much effort as possible, despite Hijikata's commands for me to remain in my room. How does one calm the lonely, restless mind? I think for the soldiers, whenever the captains or other officers would look out for me, it appeared as if they were giving me special treatment. They were just watching me. To make sure I kept my mouth shut, they took turns keeping watch over me. Any mistake on my part would cause huge trouble, so they were making an effort to keep me contained. Even if I could speak with the soldiers, what conversations could we share? Nothing? My only respite from any possibility of detection would be to stay alone. Again. All I wanted from this, though, was to find my father. Even though they promised to help me, keeping me locked here without the ability to leave was no better than being tied up.
I think it's a little better.
Just when it felt like I'd made some progress into my journey, my search was kept to a halt. Perhaps I thought I could talk to Hijikata, if he would give me permission to look for my father. Oh no, that's right. Hijikata just recently departed to Osaka. Well, if Hijikata's not here, I wasn't sure what to do.
So I checked my phone. Good lord, you changed your phone too for this game?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Look, it came with wallpaper, so I'm gonna fucking use them.
Phone wallpapers too?
Yep.
Wow. You know what game didn't, but I had to make do? This one.
Of course. Were computers even a thing when those came out?
2001? Yeah.
Shit, where were we?
You're not sure what to do.
To be completely honest, staying in the room was awfully boring. No, considering your predicament, you need to follow Hijikata's orders, Kaida.
It's a far cry from your, devil may care, I'm going to escape all the time attitude before.
Yeah. I didn't want to cause a disturbance on top of what I'd done. The consequences would be... What am I doing here? A forlorn malaise wafted over me. The room was nice, of course, but also practically empty. It wasn't uncomfortable, I suppose, but not comfortable either, and nothing passed the time. Here I thought I'd gotten used to doing nothing. My father's business required him to take trips frequently, sometimes for days at a time, and so I'd spend a good deal of time home on my own. This isn't quite the same, though. Back then, I always knew he'd come back eventually. Waiting for someone you knew would return and waiting for what you didn't quite know are two very different things. When will I be able to start looking for father again, I wonder? My reflections all manifest into sighs eventually. Yukimura, I've been looking for you. I didn't think you'd be here.
Do you think he enters the room, like, with confident stride, hands up, like, yeah, or more finger gun style, like, hey, Yukimura?
He's, I would say, confident. Yeah.
Yep.
Kondo smiled brilliantly at me as he stepped into the room holding a tray in his hands. I'm sorry? That I'm in the room? That you told me to stay in?
Supposed to stay in?
I wasn't sure what to make of his words, so instead I silently bowed.
Yep.
Wait a moment. Is this your room?
Yes.
For now, yes. Oh no! Then I barged into a woman's room without announcing myself. Oh no, it's
Aren't
fine.
you married?
After
I don't
all,
know that yet, but I've been told that by a very reliable source.
After all, it isn't as though there's anything here I wouldn't want you to see. We decided you would be Toshi's page, so I assumed your room would be next to his. Hijikata had, of course, failed to tell Kondo that I had yet to be made a page. I wasn't surprised. It wasn't too hard to see what was going on. I'm not really prepared to entertain, but you're welcome to come in if you'd like. There's no need to worry. If I may, I'll take you up on your offer. And you needn't feel nervous around me. While you're here, you're a guest of the Shinsengumi. Then he placed the tray on the floor between us. This is... As I looked down at the tray, I could barely stifle a sudden squeal of excitement.
So much jam.
You are a fan of sweets, I take it. I found some of these in the cupboard, so I brought them here for you. On the plate, he'd arranged several colorful candies and a cup of warm green tea. So, what do you think? If you'd like to have some, go ahead. No need to hold back. Thank you very much. I cautiously reached to take one of the candies. It's delicious. It had been a while since I had any sweets. Something about the small, colorful candy seemed so adorable that I couldn't help but smile.
They're just hotel mints that he found.
I'm glad you like them. Kondo possessed a warming presence that made me feel safe as he watched me eat. Oh yes, I've heard you haven't been allowed to go outside. It's true, but it seems better to know my place. Rushing things would only make more trouble. So, just as Hijikata suggested, I plan on waiting it out just a little more. I see. I'm glad you understand. I know Toshi seems a little rough on the edges, but I promise you he's truly a caring man.
You give this guy a lot of energy.
Hijikata caring? Wow, I had no idea. If you want further curious, the blue options are ones I've already picked.
Ah.
Kondo's view of Hijikata seemed so at odds with my own personal experience with him. Of course, though, Kondo is intimately familiar with him, I'm sure, so perhaps there's no way of knowing who this man really is.
On the other hand, I did see him choke a man out for suggesting jelly was in any way better than jam.
Wow, I had no idea. It's understandable. Those who do not know him often share a similar opinion. But Toshi may have his reservations as to why now is not the best time for you to leave the compound. You're bored, I know, but I have to ask you to hang on a little longer. Okay, I understand. He hadn't done much, to be honest, but Kondo's visit had cheered me up greatly. Of course, the conditions of staying in my room were left unchanged. However, the creature comforts of spending an afternoon drinking warm tea gave me some life.
You're at 36 minutes.
Oh, shit. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Toodle McScoodles.